Today's news highlights. Date April 14, 2025. News highlights: the US announced the waiver of reciprocal tariffs on mobile phones, computers and other goods, giving companies time to move production lines back to the US. The defects of Huawei AI chips were delayed, and US stocks and Taiwan stocks fell hard. The US is in intensive negotiations with many countries to complete 90 agreements within 90 days, and Trump will personally review the decision. News highlights: Shanghai Renji Hospital published a paper reporting 2 cases of newborn infant kidney transplantation, which caused shock in the medical community and public opinion. Taiwanese physician Yang Weijia questioned the process of organ acquisition, pointing out that the 29-week premature baby has strong vitality and cannot become a source of transplantation under normal treatment, and may be involved in the live harvesting controversy. News highlights: the UK government has urgently enacted legislation to take over British Steel, which is owned by the Chinese-owned Jingyi Group, to prevent the closure of the country's only remaining blast furnace and to defend strategic manufacturing capabilities. Prime Minister Starmer rarely convened the National Assembly to pass a bill during the holiday, and nationalization will not be ruled out in the future to ensure the stability of industry and national security. News highlights: South Korea announced the launch of the core technology research and development of hypertube vacuum tube high-speed trains, which is expected to be completed in 2027, with an estimated speed of 1,200 km per hour, and only 20 minutes from Seoul to Busan. News highlights: Taiwan stocks experienced a sharp decline and soaring last week, and the legal person pointed out that 4 major bullish signals have appeared. The floating amount has been effectively cleaned, the technical indicators have bottomed out, the National Security Fund has entered the market to protect the disc, and the price and volume structure has improved, showing that the buying has returned to the team and the short term has turned long. This week, focusing on Trump's policy direction and TSMC's 17th law, the index is expected to challenge to regain 20,000 points of lost territory. News highlights: US President Trump announced the details of semiconductor tariffs on the 14th, and the industry deduced 3 sets of scripts, the most serious of which may impose tariffs of more than 100% on TSMC, or a comprehensive tax on imported chips and semiconductor products containing them, which has a wide range of impacts. The industry is worried about the impact of heavy taxes, and hopes that Trump will adopt a moderate plan, but it is still waiting for the US side to officially unveil it. News highlights: the US bond yield fluctuated violently, affecting the US real economy and Taiwan's financial market, and the financial circle was worried about the loss of the appraisal due to the rise in the yield rate. The central bank pointed out that it is unrealistic to cut interest rates, which may trigger market panic and the global financial crisis, and it is necessary to guard against the risk of a vicious circle. News highlights: Trump's tariffs will push up data center costs and affect US AI investment. Although some products are exempted, building materials and cooling equipment are not exempted, and the industry is worried that the cost will rise by 15–20%, which may help China compete and cast a shadow on the AI boom. News highlights: Miss Zhang of Taichung City was fined for parking on a section of the red line suspected of being drawn without permission in Fengyuan district, and found that the red line was different from that of other areas. After inquiry, the Fengyuan district office confirmed that the red line was privately drawn by the public, and will assist Ms. Zhang in filing a complaint. The Taichung City government said it would investigate and punish the violations and evaluate whether to remove or redraw the markings. News highlights: Expo 2025 Osaka attracted 140,000 people on its first day, and the venue and subway stations were crowded with people waiting to enter, making it difficult to cope with the influx of internet connections. Although the expo advertises zero queues, admission is subject to security checks, and queues on site are still serious. The queue time for popular sushi restaurants is as long as 8 hours, and people near the subway station have reported that they can queue for 2 hours to enter the station. Organizers need to improve their management to cope with the ongoing crowds. News highlights: Dajiamazu Jingxiang returned to Luan in the early morning of today, 14th, but clashes broke out at the intersection of Sanmin Road and Dexing Road, which are hundreds of meters away from Zhenlan Palace. The Sedan Car Group and the Zhenlan Palace Order Group broke out into pushing and beating each other because of the competition to pick up the sedan chair, and some people even smashed people with plastic chairs, and the scene was chaotic. The police immediately activated the intervention of the combat unit, brought back 5 people involved in the case at 23:20 for investigation, and called on the public to calm down, not to break the law on impulse, and stressed zero tolerance for violence. News highlights: the US Customs announced the list of tariff exclusions for some products, and the world was excited, but it was slapped in the face by US President Trump himself, alleging that it was fake news, emphasizing that all products still maintain 20% tariffs, and the exemption list is only a classification adjustment, and the trade policy is ultimately decided by him. News highlights: on Li Piagen's 48th birthday, Xiao Zhen made a surprise arrangement for a birthday party on the Bund in Shanghai. Wu Qixian, Zhang Fan and other friends appeared. Piagen was moved to tears, and made a wish that Xiao Zhen must be happy, and the deep friendship between the two touched everyone. News highlights: Lee Ju-hun returned to South Korea to support the snow, and the LG twin mascot Lucky intimately blocked the snow for her, and the fans were cute. Compared with the past controversy over the Kia Tiger mascot, netizens praised Lucky for being considerate and gentle. News highlights Yu Feng's father-in-law, Chen Junyi, died of heart discomfort while traveling on a cruise in Turkey at the age of 83. Yu Feng lamented that his father-in-law was lonely after losing his mother-in-law, and now he has passed away successfully, which is a great blessing without illness and pain, and his family still blesses him with peace despite grief. News highlights US President Trump denied tariff exemptions on Chinese electronics, emphasizing that it was only a classification adjustment, and announced that he would launch a national security tariff investigation and add key tariffs on semiconductors and computers, putting tough pressure on China, and Wall Street was affected by sharp fluctuations. News highlights Daejeon's 9 days and 8 nights of retreat came to a successful end, and it was originally scheduled to return to Lwang at 11 o'clock last night to settle down, but due to the enthusiasm of the believers, the ceremony was postponed to 1 o'clock in the morning. The overall event attracted hundreds of thousands of participants, and the scene was lively and spectacular, but the snatching of the sedan chair caused pushing and clashes, and the police have intervened in the investigation. News highlights a 70-year-old forest woman in Chi was hit by a bicycle and rolled under the car, and was conscious when she was rescued, but died at noon the next day. The prosecutor initially determined that the cause of death was intraperitoneal hemorrhage, which was suspected to be related to the illegal parking of the vehicle at the scene. News highlights a major industrial safety accident occurred on the 13th in Yunlin Dulyu, when the brother surnamed Huang was overhauling the rainwater recycling tank pipeline of the food factory. The younger brother was suspected of inhaling biogas and fell into a coma, and the elder brother also accidentally fell into the rescue, and both were sent to the hospital for treatment. The OSHC has intervened in the investigation, and the county government has assisted the family in dealing with the aftermath and compensation. News highlights the Meteorological Administration forecasts that from tomorrow to Thursday, 15/17, the whole Taiwan will maintain clear and stable weather, with a large temperature difference between day and night, cloudy to sunny in the western half, and occasional scattered showers in the eastern half and the Hengchun Peninsula, cool in the early morning and warm during the day. From Friday, 18th, the moisture will increase, and there will be brief showers in the north, eastern and southern mountainous areas of the central part, and the rain will wave through to Sunday, 20th, so it is recommended to pay attention to the latest weather forecast at any time and bring an umbrella when you go out. News highlights US President Trump announced that the temporary tariff waiver on China's mobile phones and computers is only a short-term measure, and a national security investigation into the semiconductor and electronic supply chain will be launched, and key tariffs will be imposed on related products within 1 to 2 months at the earliest, and the Wall Street stock market will be affected and fluctuated violently. News highlights Lu Gunting's new drama Black Judge started filming, the shooting scene in the rain was exposed, and Li Hao, the CEO of a technology company who changed careers and had an annual income of more than 100 million, not only performed but also invested in the play. News highlights 65-year-old singer Li Mission owes a huge debt of 200 or 300 million yuan due to gambling, and has been overseas for 26 years. It is rumored that the debt has been paid off, and fans are looking forward to his return, but he keeps a low profile and avoids talking, and his whereabouts are a mystery. News highlights South Korean actor Nam Yoon-chao mistakenly transferred the 19th banned advertisement to IG on the 13th, deleted and apologized half an hour later, saying that he was driving without knowing it at the time, and he suspected that his mobile phone was accidentally touched or hacked. The brokerage company said that it was an accident, and Nan Runchao promised to be more cautious in the future. News highlights British actor Nick Moran, who has played in the Harry Potter series, underwent emergency surgery due to a spinal injury, and doctors warned that if he did not undergo surgery, he would face difficulty walking or speaking, and even his life would be in danger. After the successful operation, Nick has now returned home to recuperate, and although he walks like an old man, he is no longer in pain and is in stable condition. News highlights Zheng Shijia, a 28-year-old influencer, has more than 2.73 million followers on social media platforms because of his special singing voice, but he was diagnosed with advanced stomach cancer in March this year and died less than a month later. Zheng Shijia was enthusiastic about public welfare during his lifetime and was deeply loved by fans and locals. On April 12, thousands of villagers and fans spontaneously participated in the funeral, and the procession was hundreds of meters long. The songs written by Zheng Shijia before his death are still circulating on the internet, and fans are extremely saddened by his sudden death. News highlights 37-year-old Chinese actor Li Yifeng once collapsed and was banned for soliciting prostitution, and his Weibo account also disappeared. After a 3-year hiatus, he chose to turn to overseas markets and held a concert in Thailand, where he received a large number of fans. Li Yifeng publicly apologized at the concert, saying that he had reformed and looked forward to more opportunities to meet fans in the future. However, some netizens expressed disgust at his comeback and questioned whether he could return to the entertainment industry. News highlights Japanese actress Ryoko Hirose was recently arrested for punching and kicking a nurse after a car accident, and is now being questioned at the police station and is expected to be held until the 19th. Her lawyer's complaint was dismissed, and life in the detention center was also a cause for concern. Household items are required to be purchased at the detention center's own expense, ballpoint pens and other items are borrowed and limited, bras are considered dangerous and not allowed to be brought in, and women are only allowed to take a shower once a week. Police said the tests in Guangzhou did not show the use of illegal drugs, but further tests would be conducted. News highlights horoscope expert Tang Qiyang predicted a drastic astrological change this week, pointing out that there could be a full-scale runaway shuffle and warning of the possibility of high-profile deaths. She mentioned that the deep changes in heartfelt dynamics brought about by Pluto's stagnation will be revealed, and warned that financial markets may be moving out of line. In addition, Mercury's entry into Aries will raise conversations about self and impulsivity, as well as violence, explosions, and other unexpected events, especially with mood swings and impulsive spending. She emphasized the need to be vigilant and maintain good health when managing your finances. News highlights Trump's announcement of reciprocal tariffs sparked market turmoil reminiscent of the 2008 financial crisis. Taiwan stocks tumbled 18.3% for 3 consecutive days after the Qingming Festival, the biggest drop in history, but recovered strongly as Trump suspended tariff measures. Still, economists warn that recession risks remain unresolved and the market remains uncertain, and the outlook is worth watching. News highlights the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, announced on the 11th that electronic products would be included in the list of reciprocal tariff exclusions, but Trump clarified on the social platform on the 13th that there is no tariff exemption, emphasizing that the United States will comprehensively review the semiconductor and electronic supply chains, and require products to be manufactured in the United States, especially pointing out that China is the worst for the United States in trade, and claiming that the golden age will come, bringing more jobs and domestically manufactured products. News highlights the Taipei District Prosecutor's Office directed the Investigation Bureau to search for persons involved in the recall case involving the ghost signature, including Liu Xian, Li Xiaoyang, Wu Zhegang, etc., and interviewed 6 defendants and witnesses. The prosecutor's investigation revealed that some of the signatures had been impersonated and investigated for forgery in violation of the personal information law. Liu Xian expressed her stance on Facebook, emphasizing that she would not give in, and stressed that she was innocent and would continue to promote the recall action, bluntly saying that if the judiciary chooses injustice, the people will become the final judgment. News highlights in an effort to stabilize the stock market in response to the escalation of the US-China trade war, China's stock exchanges have capped the daily net selling volume of hedge funds and large retail investors at 50 million yuan. The offender's account will be suspended. The move is aimed at reducing market volatility and ensuring the stability of the stock market. As the US-China trade war escalates, the Chinese government and companies have taken proactive measures, including state-owned funds to increase their stock holdings and buybacks of listed companies, to fend off the sell-off in global markets. The Chinese side also said that if the US imposes further tariffs, it will ignore them. News highlights the group that removed Wu Pei and Wu Saiyao, the group of Taipei City Green Committee members, was recently passed by the First Order, but it was revealed that it was flawed and the death joint signature was suspected of fraud. The convener of the recall group, Liu Xian, and the leader Li Xiaoyang issued a statement this morning, saying that the Investigation Bureau had come to search and suspended today's activities. The two stressed that they would not give in even if they could be taken into custody, and said that the action was to expose injustices and to stand up for justice, democracy, and the rule of law. The two called on the people to continue to support and stressed that they would not abandon the recall and would stay the course. News highlights recently, singer Tank, Liu Jianzhong, announced that he successfully performed a heart and liver transplant in China, which sparked a heated discussion about the issue of organ transplantation in China. Meanwhile, Yulan's Ladongbo AI Hospital has been falsely accused on the internet that it may be part of a Chinese organ transplant platform after its founder's granddaughter married Bo Guigua, the eldest son of former Chinese political commissar Bo Zillet, and that the hospital began offering organ transplant services. Loteng Pakoi Hospital later issued a statement emphasizing that all of its organ transplant procedures are in full compliance with Taiwanese laws and regulations, and that all surgeries comply with Taiwan's requirements for transparency and fairness. News highlights Lee Se-young shared her experience of breast augmentation surgery on YouTube, revealing that everything was fine after the operation, until she accidentally hit the bell during a gym, causing the filler to displace and spread to the lower part of her chest and armpits. After the examination, she urgently needed surgery to clean up, and described the process as 1,000 times more painful than breast augmentation. After the operation, she underwent breast augmentation surgery again, and her current situation is stable, reminding everyone to be cautious when choosing plastic surgery. News highlights US President Donald Trump has launched a tariff war, targeting China. In response to US provocations, Beijing has declared a wartime posture, requiring officials to cancel vacations, keep their mobile phones on, and be ready for countermeasures, and engage in charismatic diplomacy in an effort to rally other countries against the United States. Foreign and commerce officials have also been instructed to prepare for Trump's policies and propose step-by-step countermeasures. CCP propaganda officials play a leading role, emphasizing that China will not back down. News highlights Li Yifeng's image collapsed due to the prostitution incident in 2022, and his acting career was hit hard, and Weibo was closed and disappeared for 3.5 years. Recently, he held a Green Sea appointment concert in Thailand and tearfully apologized for his past behavior, saying that he had reformed and would have more opportunities to meet everyone in the future. However, netizens reacted coldly, believing that he was a bad artist and questioning the ease of making a comeback overseas. Li Yifeng's image has still not fully recovered. News highlights Ryoko Hirosu has been detained by the Shizuoka District Public Prosecutor on suspicion of assaulting a nursing staff at the hospital, and has been questioned in the Hamamatsu West office for several days. The court approved the detention until the 19th, and suspected relatives came to visit. In detention centers, condolences are usually cash and clothing, while notebooks and cleaning supplies must be purchased at your own expense. Hirosu lost control of his emotions during the interrogation and behaved suspiciously before the traffic accident. After being taken to the hospital, she kicked and punched the nursing staff in the hospital and was arrested. Police have ruled out the use of marijuana or stimulants and will investigate further. News highlights a netizen warned on guard, advising Taiwanese not to travel to South Korea recently. He said that when he took his elders to Seoul recently, he encountered malicious behavior and verbal and physical unfriendliness from Korean locals towards Chinese tourists. He mentioned that he and his family were deliberately bumped on the shoulder by a Korean uncle at a hotel, and were provoked to question Chinese at Incheon Airport, etc. Netizens called on Taiwanese to be vigilant and shared that they would prefer to choose Japan as a tourist destination. This post sparked a lot of discussion among netizens. Some said that South Korea's hatred of China is more obvious, and some netizens shared their good experience in South Korea. News highlights the video of President Lee King's speech provided by the presidential office a few days ago has aroused doubts, because some passages in the video have been trimmed, and it is suspected that the clip of President Lee talking about enduring hardships as compensation has been deleted. However, media reports still quoted the full content of President Lee's speech on the spot, mentioning that enduring hardships as compensation is the spirit of Taiwan. In his speech, President Lee stressed that Taiwan should actively face various challenges, including reciprocal tariff policies, authoritarian expansion, and net zero transition, and called for cooperation between the government and the opposition to jointly deal with difficulties. News highlights today, 14th, the whole Taiwan is affected by radiative cooling and cold air, and the temperature difference between various places in the early morning is large, about 12 to 13 degrees in the north and Yunnan, and 15 to 19 degrees in other areas. The temperature gradually warms up during the day, and the high temperature in the south can reach 35 degrees. Meteorological expert Wu Durong predicts that there will be 3 waves of frontal relays in the future, and the temperature will remain high during the day from today to Wednesday, and it can reach 35 degrees in the south. Affected by high-pressure backflow from Thursday, the weather remained warm and hot. The front is approaching from next Friday, with localized showers and slightly lower temperatures. News highlights the Kuomintang Youth Army recently launched an action to remove Taipei City legislator Wu Pei, but Liu Yiren, a member of the Green Camp, accused the joint signature of being suspected of fraud and reported it to the Beijing Procuratorate. The Taipei District Prosecutor's Office has directed the Investigation Bureau to search for the residence of the recall convener and leader, and said that it is inconvenient to confirm the case. The leaders of the recall action, Li Xiaoyang and Lu Xian, issued a statement on Facebook, emphasizing their innocence and saying that they would not give in, and that they were determined to continue to promote the recall, and declared that the action was about democracy, the rule of law and the justice of the people. News highlights Daewon Civic Group eliminated Neo gangsters and announced the recall of Kuomintang legislator Neo Suding's second-order signatures exceeded 34,000, reaching the threshold of 33,970, and the target sprint to 45,000. The Kuomintang Zhu Lailun and Zhang Shanzheng strongly supported Neo last week, while Neo criticized the recall as a political conspiracy, questioned the unknown source of funds, and the two sides attacked and defended in white heat. News highlights during the recall, Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, lawmaker Liu Yiren accused the recall of Wu Pei's CO signature of fraud, with a false rate of more than 4%. On the 14th, the Investigation Bureau searched the residences of 5 people, and the conveners Li Xiaoyang and Lu Xian were brought back for interviews, and the facts of the case are yet to be clarified. News highlights US President Trump announced a 90-day moratorium on tariffs in 75 countries, and plans to impose individual tariffs on semiconductors, mobile phones, computers, etc., which will be on the road within a month at the earliest. Taiwan's industry estimates that 3 sets of scripts, the heaviest of which may impose a tax rate of more than 100%, impacting South Korea and Taiwan's chip exports. News highlights Kuomintang legislator Chen Yuzhen's recent amendment to the regulations on the construction of outlying islands plans to add an international medical zone and a free trade demonstration zone on the outlying islands, but it has aroused doubts from the outside world, fearing that this move may become a backdoor for China's washing of production and rekindle the topic of pro-China. Although the group that removed Chen Yuzhen in the first phase of the recall failed to meet the target of 73 signatures, HSU Ujia, a law student at National Taiwan University who served as the spokesman for Kinmen, strongly criticized Chen Yuzhen's behavior in the Legislative Yuan, believing that she stood on the side of the two sides of the strait and promoted bills that might endanger Taiwan's democracy and rule of law. HSU said that no matter what, the recall will continue to move forward, stressing that their purpose is to let everyone know that Kinmen is not in Chen's custody, and called on young people to stand up and protect Taiwan's future. News highlights DPP President KG Unming has not appeared in public for several days, and he is going to Kyoto, Japan to recuperate. Wu Saiyeo, Secretary General of the party caucus, said that K needs to recuperate well, and will return full of blood after resting, which will be supported by her and the 51st team for the time being. News highlights the People's Party preached in Tainan yesterday, and Kuomintang legislator Xia Longjia showed up to support it, hoping that the People's Party city councillors will be elected for 5 seats next year, and threw out the blue and white issue, saying that if he is elected mayor for 4 years, he will hand over the baton to the People's Party, and promised to open a live broadcast to invite citizens to participate in politics. News highlights a man surnamed Jing, a coffee expert in Pingtung, was charged with sexually assaulting an apprentice and sentenced to 2 years in prison, suspended for 5 years. Jing Nan shouted that it was you and me, but netizens angrily swiped negative comments. The name of the Google store was changed to Sexually Assaulted Store, and the identity of the community college professor also caused controversy. News highlights Taipei Zenashan Japanese restaurant mistakenly gave leftover edamame to a new customer from a former guest, and was complained of being disgusting. The restaurant admitted the negligence, apologized and compensated for 1 dish, only charged 1 fried rice fee, and promised to strengthen staff training. News highlights hundreds of Taiwanese have been blacklisted and restricted from leaving the country because they have been engaged in offshore gambling in the Philippines. Their passports have been detained, their air tickets have been destroyed, and they have no way to seek help. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that it respects the policy of the Philippine side and recommends that the parties concerned follow local legal procedures. News highlights Wang Keiwa attended Lai Waru's wedding on the 13th, and was accused of changing his face again, and netizens hit the Sangxingdui bronze mask in his face. She proudly said, "I've lost weight," and shared photos of the wedding scene and information about the performance in May. News highlights Yu Fang's father-in-law, Chen Junyi, died suddenly during a trip, shocking the whole family. Yu Fang revealed that his father-in-law had a heart attack while traveling with a friend in Turkey and unfortunately passed away. She said with a heartache that although she was reluctant, she understood that her father-in-law had been blessed and wished him a complete life. Yu Fang also recalled getting along with his father-in-law, lamenting that there were no elders in the family, and his emotions were deep. News highlights Taichung City has launched the 2023 Electric Locomotive Replacement and New Purchase Subsidy Program, expanding the scope of subsidies to old fuel locomotives that leave the factory before December 31, 103, and opening citizens who have applied for subsidies before January 1, 104 to apply again. A subsidy of up to $27,300 will be granted for replacing old vehicles and up to $10,000 for new electric locomotives. Low and middle income households can receive a subsidy of up to $42,300. Applications must be completed between January 1 and December 31, 2023 and submitted by January 10, 2023 at the latest. News highlights U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, had released a list of 20 product tariff exclusions, which caused market expectations, but U.S. President Donald Trump later dismissed the report as fake news, stressing that no tariffs could be exempted. Trump accused China of treating the United States the worst in trade, and stressed that the United States should protect local manufacturing and end the exploitation of China and other trading countries, predicting that the United States will enter a golden age. News highlights a 59-year-old woman fell from the 25th floor to the balcony on the 3rd floor and died on the spot. The husband woke up in the morning and did not see his wife, and after searching around, he found the body on the 3rd floor and collapsed in grief. The woman was suspected of being mentally unstable before her death, and the cause of the fall is still pending investigation by the prosecutorial police. News highlights the Investigation Bureau searched for Li Xiaoyang and Lu Xian, the group conveners who dismissed DPP legislators Wu Pei and Wu Saiyeo this morning, 14th, while Kuomintang legislator Luo Haiqiang revealed that Chen Guanan, the director of the office, was taken away, angrily blasting Green Terror is coming and criticizing it as terrorist reckoning. Luo Haiqiang pointed out that the DPP launched a plan to completely annihilate the opposition parties, and said that he was not afraid of suppression and was determined to fight to the end, and called on supporters to vote for the recall. News highlights a 7-year-old boy in Hangzhou, China, accidentally fell from the 27th floor of his home at noon on the 12th. It is reported that at the time of the incident, there was light rain in the sky and strong winds, and the boy was alone at home at the time, and his parents rushed home after being notified. The police initially judged that it was an accidental fall from the building, and the incident sparked heated discussions on the internet, with some netizens discussing parental responsibilities and calling for not blaming parents, emphasizing that the loss of a child is an unbearable pain. News highlights Taiwan stocks fluctuated violently in early trading on the 14th, once breaking through 20,000 points and then falling. The U.S. semiconductor tariff policy will be announced on the 14th local time, affecting TSMC's stock price. Despite this, analysts believe that the fundamentals are strong, there may be a buffer period for tariffs, and investors do not need to be overly pessimistic. Shipping stocks and domestic demand stocks performed strongly in the market, especially shipping stocks soared due to the delay in tariffs. Despite the escalation of the US-China trade war, investors still need to be cautious about TSMC's legal conference and other market developments. News highlights on the 14th, the Investigation Bureau launched a search operation to investigate the leaders of the group that removed DPP legislator Wu Pei and Wu Saiyao, involving a large number of deaths and signatures and the issue of being registered for less than 4 months. The leaders of the recall group, Li Xiaoyang and Lu Xian, declared their innocence and publicly stated their opposition to submission. This case is related to the forged joint signature that was previously reported, and the prosecutor is investigating whether there is a forgery of documents and a violation of the Personal Information Protection Law. Both the legislator and the mayor of Taipei called for justice to handle the matter fairly. News highlights the U.S. government announced on Friday that 20 electronic products, including smartphones, semiconductors, and televisions, would be exempt from Trump's reciprocal tariffs. However, Trump still said on the 12th that he would elaborate on the details of the semiconductor tariffs on the 14th, and the tariff situation is not yet clear. This uncertainty prompted a surge in global ocean freight rates and led to a strong performance in ocean freight stocks, with Wanhai Shipping, Yangming Shipping and Evergreen Shipping soaring. Shipping experts predict that spot freight rates will remain volatile in the short term, but long-term freight rates may decline due to the trade war. News highlights artist Yu Hung was sentenced to 8 months in prison and suspended for 5 years in the second instance last year for forcibly molesting a female assistant. However, Yu Hung made a comeback and updated the channel on April 7 this year, but it caused netizens to lash out. With the announcement of the verdict, the process of Yu Hung's attempt to collude evidence was exposed. He contacted the victim twice and provided him with a question and answer file drafted by his lawyer, in an attempt to get the victim to cooperate with his testimony, and even asked the victim to give a harmless explanation in court. This act was found by the judge of the first instance to be an attempt to collude witnesses and condemned in the verdict, arguing that such an act caused further psychological harm to the victim. News highlights U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff policy exceeded market expectations, triggering sharp volatility in global markets, with the Taiwan stock market falling 1,769 points last week, and some ETFs surging in popularity, with a total of 36 ETF beneficiaries hitting a new high. After the announcement of the tariff policy on April 2, the global market plummeted, and then the U.S. stock market rebounded, driving the stock market to rebound, especially Taiwan-related ETFs such as Cathay Perpetual High Dividend and Yuantai High Dividend, attracting a large number of investors to enter the market. Leveraged ETFs also performed strongly with active buying. U.S. equity ETFs also attract inflows, especially semiconductor and S&P 500 related ETFs. News highlights China Airlines Flight CI753 was diverted to Kaohsiung due to engine failure, resulting in a delay of nearly 10 hours for the return flight CI754. Passengers criticized China Airlines for its mishandling of the situation, such as not issuing meal vouchers to all employees, changing aircraft types without prior notice, and failing to provide a clear compensation plan. China Airlines said that it would take flight safety as the top priority and arrange meals and shuttle services, emphasizing that the aircraft failure was an emergency, but the follow-up treatment caused dissatisfaction. News highlights the U.S. government announced late Friday night that it would waive tariffs on smartphones, semiconductors, TVs, and other electronic products, making nearly 2/3 of Taiwan's exports to the United States exempt, making it the biggest beneficiary. According to Capital Economics, U.S. import tariffs on China will be reduced from 145% to about 106%. Other countries, such as Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand, are exempt from 44% and 30% respectively. While the waiver lowered the average real tariff on U.S. imports to 22%, it was still well above last year's 2.3%. The analysis pointed out that this waiver will not be the last round, and Apple's success in winning the iPhone waiver may prompt other industries to increase lobbying. News highlights today, 14th. Taiwan's high-speed rail 204 northbound train from Zhouying to Nangang, originally scheduled to stop at Bangqiao Station at 8:26 a.m., but due to human negligence, the driving did not stop, and the door was not open to continue to move forward to Taipei Main Station. The high-speed rail company apologized and arranged for the affected passengers to transfer to the nearest train to return to Bangqiao or northbound. The company has launched an internal investigation and issued a certificate of abnormal operation to the public as proof of tardiness. News highlights U.S. President Trump said on the 13th that he would announce the tariff rate on semiconductor imports within next week, and stressed that he would take flexible treatment for some industry players. He also revealed that the iPhone tariffs will be adjusted and commented on the market, emphasizing that the U.S. financial system is highly respected and there should be no room for ambiguity in the market. Trump also noted that Russia's attack on Ukraine was seen as a mistake and said that a decision on Iran policy would be made soon. News Highlights Education Minister Cheng Eng-yu said that this is a student's freedom of speech and civic activity, and it should be respected, as long as it does not involve defamation or impact on public safety. He stressed that the campus should remain neutral and political party activities should be prohibited, but it is okay for students to express their political positions, and the school should respect the rights and democratic spirit of students. News Highlights The DPP's communist spy cases broke out in a row, and the internet celebrity Guoji, Chuwuja, bluntly said that spies should be sent to the enemy, and suggested that land by hand over 1 or 2 spies, otherwise it would look embarrassing. This remark caused netizens to criticize, and the video game host Dent also mocked Guoji in a message, accusing him of logical double standards, and said that there is nothing wrong with it at all. This incident triggered a large number of netizens to leave messages in response, criticizing and ridiculing Guoji's remarks. News Highlights Some netizens shared that when they traveled to Hokkaido with a group, they found that a young couple had a badge of I am Taiwanese pinned to their chests, and deliberately showed it to Japanese clerks in various places. This move has sparked criticism from many netizens, who believe that such an act is humiliating and question the intentions behind it. Many people believe that such behavior will not enhance the image of the Taiwanese people, but may bring unnecessary misunderstandings and contradictions. Some netizens pointed out that attitude and behavior are the most important, and nationality is not the criterion. News Highlights The U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, announced on the 11th that it would exempt electronic products such as computers, mobile phones and chips, and revealed that Trump would announce the tariff rate for semiconductors within a week. Financial expert Ruan Muhwa analyzed that in the future, if the products imported into the United States contain chips made in the United States, they will be taxed according to the value of the chips. Ruan believes that Trump hopes to force the semiconductor industry to return to the United States through chip tariffs to rebuild self-control, and pointed out that this will become a national security issue, and long-term promotion of semiconductors from Asia to the United States. News Highlights 28-year-old Lai Wu held a makeup wedding with Liu Jiaming, the husband of the national ballroom dance teacher, on the evening of the 13th. In his speech, Hu Guo humorously said that there were more guests than the last wedding, and jokingly told him not to get married for the 3rd time. Lai Wu's grandmother attended with illness, personally handed over her granddaughter's hand to her grandson-in-law, and asked Hu Guo to take care of Wu. Hu Guo also responded to grandma with confidence, promising to bring Wu to participate in the performance and hosting. News Highlights A netizen shared that his father surrendered the insurance because he was under the age of 50 and unfortunately passed away after surrendering, resulting in the confiscation of all the 26-year labor insurance years and the inability to receive $1 million pensions. According to the analysis of labor insurance experts, the key to avoiding the confiscation of seniority lies in whether it is eligible for one-time labor insurance or old age annuity, especially when surrendering. If you have been employed for 23 years but have not yet reached the age of 55, you may consider applying for another 2 years to be eligible for a lump sum. Secretary Zhang reminded that if you plan to receive an annuity, you should increase the monthly amount to more than 20,000 yuan to protect the life of the elderly. News Highlights U.S. President Trump said on the 13th that he would announce tariff rates on imported semiconductors in the coming week, and mentioned that some semiconductor companies will enjoy flexibility. He stressed that as with steel, automobiles, and other products, tariffs on semiconductors will be implemented in the near future, and stressed that the United States will focus on developing local chip production. Trump also said that he would make an announcement on tariffs on electronic products such as iPhones and medicines, and stressed the need to remain flexible and avoid rigid policies. News Highlights After a 17-year-old high school student in Wisconsin, USA, Kai Shap, was suspected of killing his parents, the police found that he had information related to the neo-Nazi organization Nine Corners Order on his mobile phone and praised Hitler. Investigations revealed that he also planned to assassinate Trump with the intention of overthrowing the U.S. government and triggering a political revolution. Trump was assassinated last year with a bullet through his right ear. The incident has once again raised concerns about Trump's safety. News Highlights At 9:45 a.m. on April 14, 2025, a serious car accident occurred at kilometer 221 southbound of the Zhongxing section of National Highway No. 3. After receiving the report, the Nantou County Fire Department urgently used a crane and other equipment to destroy the body of the car and rescue the driver, but there were no signs of life and he was declared dead after being sent to the hospital for rescue. At present, the National Highway Police are clarifying the cause of the accident. News Highlights Against the backdrop of the ongoing escalation of the US-China tariff war, the central bank made a rare weekend overtime on April 13 to release first quarter financial data. The report pointed out that the timing of the announcement did not conform to the usual practice, and was interpreted as the regulator's intention to protect A-shares. According to the data, social financing increased by 15.18 trillion yuan in the first quarter, and RMB loans increased by 9.78 trillion yuan. At the same time, the report pointed out that China has entered a wartime posture and has begun to rally other countries to resist the U.S. tariff policy. News highlights: after the escalation of the tariff war between China and the United States, Trump imposed 145% tariffs on China, and Xi Jinping countered the 125% tariffs, which caused turmoil in the global stock market and hit Taiwanese companies hard. Yang Jiaqiang, a Taiwan businessman, revealed that Taiwan businessmen on the mainland have set off a tide of fleeing for their lives, and those who can be evacuated will be withdrawn, and those factories that cannot be withdrawn may face closure. The trade war between China and the United States and high tariff pressure have caused many Taiwanese companies to shift their production lines to Southeast Asia, especially Vietnam still has a comparative advantage. Yang Jiaqiang said that the Sino-US trade war had made it difficult for his factories to sustain, and now the tariffs have escalated, and the situation is even more serious. News highlights: recently, the youth of the Kuomintang launched the recall of DPP legislators Wu Saiyao and Wu Pei, and the second phase of the petition has been carried out. However, on the 14th, the Investigation Bureau conducted a search for the organizers and leaders of the recall case, and launched an investigation into relevant persons such as Liu Xian, Li Xiaoyang, and others. Li Xiaoyang posted on social platforms that despite the possible risk of being detained, he still stood his ground and stressed that he would not give in. He pointed out that the recall was not for personal gain, but to defend justice and democracy and the rule of law, and called on the people to join in this struggle. News highlights: in the early morning of the 14th, a slashing incident occurred in New Taipei City. 19-year-old Lin Nan negotiated with 22-year-old Zhang Nan in order to vent his anger for a female friend, but was beaten by two men brought by the other party and slashed with a knife. Lin Nan's waist, upper arm, and thigh injuries were sent to the hospital, but fortunately there was no danger to life. After the police investigated, they arrested Zhang Nan and 3 others 2 hours after the incident, and transferred the case to the investigation. News highlights: the DPP's recall motion against Kuomintang legislator Fu Kunqing has entered the second phase of the countdown to signatures. Although the Central Committee of the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, sent Zhang Haihao and others to Hualien for a sprint, it has recently been reported that about 4,000 signatures are in the wrong format and need to be re-signed. The number of signatures has reached 17,000, which is still 2,000 short of the legal threshold. With only 20 days left before the May 4th deadline, Chung was under time pressure to address the issue of erroneous signatures. News highlights: this morning, 14th, a fire incident occurred in the small oil pit of Yangmingshan, and the fire is expanding. The North City Fire Department has sent personnel to the scene and reminded citizens in the downwind area to stay indoors as much as possible and close doors and windows. The Yangmingshan National Park Management Office has closed the Kixingshan Trail and the small oil pit parking lot and notified tourists to evacuate. The burning area has reached 250 square meters, and the fire is still under control. Further information is needed on the casualties or property losses. News highlights: a 26-year-old woman in mainland China recently felt throat discomfort after eating spicy pot, and initially thought it was a problem caused by chili peppers, but her symptoms worsened, she had difficulty breathing, and died in the emergency department. Diagnosed with acute epiglottitis, the disease has a rapid onset and may quickly cause asphyxia, with a very high mortality rate. The doctor reminds that if you have severe sore throat, swallowing a foreign body and difficulty breathing, you should seek medical attention as soon as possible. News highlights: the U.S. reciprocal tariff policy affected Taiwan stocks, and Zhang Fei revealed that she had sold all her shares before the stock market crash, making a profit of about $500 million. Zhang Fei's daughter-in-law Wang Xinyi shared an interesting story about booking the wrong high-speed rail ticket, originally planned to travel during the Qingming holiday, but mistakenly thought that the holiday would start on April 1st, and finally refunded the ticket and failed to book other tickets. Wang Xinyi also shared a photo of her daughter's tomb sweeping on IG. Her daughter felt that her dress was impolite, and Wang Xinyi responded humorously. News highlights: YouTuber Adi recently shared his 28-year hidden disease, atopic dermatitis, revealing that he recently returned to a Japanese hospital for treatment. Adi said that he has been plagued by this disease since he was a child, and while he is physically unwell, it also makes him psychologically inferior. This time, he took his mother with him for treatment, because her symptoms had also worsened. Share your treatment on Instagram, including a daily stone bath to help the wound heal and apply a special cream. Adi emphasized that this is not a karmic match, but wants to help people who are also suffering from this disease. News highlights: Zhou Yatong shared a video of participating in an adult exhibition with her husband on the 14th, revealing that this is her first time participating in an adult exhibition and regards it as a benefit for her husband. In the film, Xiang shows an excited expression, and looks very calm compared to her husband. When Xiang asked her husband, "Which one is your dish?" the husband humorously replied, "It's not good looking," and made Xiang laugh with a pun, "How to choose if you can't get tough." This reaction caused netizens to laugh and say, "The desire to survive is too strong." News highlights: Xiao S took a long leave due to the death of Da S, which led to a significant reduction in the recent business of Miss Bulletin City. Wu Shenru hosted the class on behalf of the class, but due to the difference in style, the advertising revenue was greatly reduced, and the production cost was tight, so the number of episodes of the program had to be reduced from 5 episodes per week to 4 episodes. Xiao S cares about the show, although she is not ready to return to work, she still plans to return, and cherishes this hard work of cooperating with Big S. She once thanked Big S for his support and said that she would work hard to sort out her emotions and pave the way for the show's return. News highlights YouTuber Huang Xiaoi has been slimming down since 2024, successfully losing more than 30 kilograms, and becoming an inspirational representative. However, on the 13th, he clarified on Threads that he did not lose weight through gastric surgery, and in response to the insinuations of the online accusations, he emphasized that there is nothing wrong with gastric cutting, but I just don't. He apologized for the misunderstanding and thanked his fans for their support and shared his weight loss methods. He also clarified that he didn't care about the remarks about buying bags, and hoped that everyone could get along peacefully. News highlights the Trump administration in the United States announced a 90-day moratorium on the implementation of reciprocal tariffs, which prompted some major technology companies to take the opportunity to rush to ship urgent orders, driving the stock price of container Shangsheng to rise sharply. Wanhai, 2615, locked the daily limit today. Yangming, 2609, was once close to the daily limit, and Evergreen, 2603, rose by more than 5%. The strong performance of shipping stocks, especially the explosion of Wanhai's trading volume, netizens called it the universe is strong, and Evergreen and Yangming have also become the focus of the market, making investors praise shipping in 90 days to earn a whole year. News highlights amid the volatility of the stock market, the outlook for Taiwan's housing market has sparked discussion. Some netizens believe that funds will flow into the housing market, and prices may be corrected, but they will not collapse. Experts point out that real estate is not as quick as the stock market, and there will be no panic selling pressure, but if the economy is in recession, house prices may be revised downward. Some predict that the second-hand housing market will be affected, and pre-sale homes are unlikely to drop in price. Overall, the housing market will continue to be affected by supply, demand, and interest rates. News highlights U.S. President Donald Trump recently said that he will announce specific tariff measures for the semiconductor industry in the next week, and revealed that some semiconductor companies will be given flexible processing space. The move continues his policy of high tariffs on steel, aluminum, automobiles, and other industries. Trump made these remarks to the media when he returned to Washington on Air Force One and said that he would provide an update on the administration's progress on the semiconductor tariff issue on the 14th. In addition, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, has updated its guidance on reciprocal tariffs and listed that some products, such as computers, smartphones, and chips, will be exempt from tariffs. News highlights DBS Bank has recently been accused of violating the Trade Secrets Act against 4 financial professionals who left Citi, and a prosecutor has intervened in the investigation. This move has attracted the attention of the financial circle, especially after the merger of banks, and the frequent turnover of science and technology. How to define non-competition and the labor rights and interests of employees has become the focus. Legal sources have pointed out that the protection of customer information by banks may be too broad, and the non-compete clause in the employment contract may not be in line with the labor standards law. The incident sheds light on the financial industry's legal controversy when dealing with departing employees. News highlights a 77-year-old woman surnamed Wu in New Taipei City drove her husband surnamed Cai, 79 years old, with heart discomfort and an Indonesian nurse to the hospital at noon on the 14th. When passing through Mining Street, Taishan District, it is suspected that he accidentally hit the iron railing and curb on the side of the road due to excessive panic, causing the vehicle to roll over. Cai Wang lost signs of life on the spot and was pronounced dead after being sent to the hospital, with only minor abrasions. The preliminary investigation by the police showed that the test value of Wunuju was 0, and the specific cause of the accident is still to be clarified. News highlights nephrologist Zhang Xiaoshan shared the case of a stage 4 colorectal cancer patient, who refused vegetables and instead ate half a bowl of mushrooms a day to fight cancer. Combined with electrocautery treatment, the effect was remarkable, and there has been no recurrence for 2.5 years. Mushrooms are rich in polysaccharides, plant-based proteins, and dietary fiber, which help boost immunity, fight tumors, and improve the intestinal environment. Different mushrooms contain different anti-cancer ingredients that have multiple health benefits, including anti-aging and reducing the risk of dementia. News highlights the news that South Korean cheerleader Lee Joo-hun has joined the Chinese professional Fubon Titan has caused dissatisfaction among Taiwanese fans, mainly because she has not made corresponding efforts. Some fans pointed out that Lee Zejun often forgot the movements in the support dance, and his Chinese ability did not improve, which made fans feel disappointed and chilled. Still, some argue that she should be given more time to adapt and encourage her to keep trying.